So I went to a mystery pre-screening this week, presumably for some indie film that needs some more word of mouth, but it turned out to instead be for one of the biggest films of the Thanksgiving season. And just before the Wicked and Gladiator 2 double feature that studios were pushing for.
Theater owners around the country are hoping to recreate the box office success of Barbenheimer when Gladiator 2 and Wicked are released on the same weekend. So get ready for Gladict.
Nice going, AMC. You ruined the new Barbenheimer. Okay, yes, I did say that there was never going to be another Barbenheimer. It's probably not going to happen. Barbenheimer happened naturally, made by regular people, for two highly anticipated movies. But Barbenheimer was lightning in a bottle. Only a sucker would see this industry plant double feature. Anyway, I was going to see it before this happened, simply for the gimmick of reviewing it. I would have named the video something self-deprecating like, "Some dumbass actually watched Glicked." Now what gimmick am I supposed to come up with for next week? Now what do I pretend to take seriously for clicks? Anyway, on to my thoughts on Gladiator 2. It comes to us once again from director Ridley Scott, written by David Scarpa, a writer for Napoleon, All the Money in the World, and The Man in High Castle, while the story was co-written by Peter Craig, who worked on The Town, Top Gun Maverick, and The Batman. It takes place over a decade after the events of the first one, where that kid has grown now, is played by Paul Mescal, and has been captured by enemies and forced to be Gladiator. This isn't as good as the original, but it has a lot of what made the original work. It has the same massive scope that immerses you in the time period and much of the same epic feel. It has an interesting story full of intrigue and political drama, and some good acting from its cast, which includes Mescal as well as Pedro Pascal, and a fully committed Denzel Washington. And of course the Gladiator fights are as epic as ever, for the most part. There are some hiccups, mainly in the battles that rely on CGI animals. Don't get me wrong, the CGI doesn't look bad by any means, but they still stick out. I could still tell that they were CGI, which is a contrast with how amazing all of the other technical aspects look, and how easily they take the audience back to ancient Rome. I'm thinking that everything else was probably done with a mix of CG and practical effects. Even if they couldn't use real animals for the entire sequences, they would have looked a lot better if they shot it in a similar way. But the vast majority of these sequences are as epic and bloody as ever. I guess the other downside is that it's just not nearly as good as the original, but really who was expecting it to be? Gladiator probably wasn't exactly a movie that a lot of people thought needed a sequel over 20 years later, but like Top Gun Maverick before it, surprise, it's actually a worthy sequel. I don't think it'll be as much of an awards darling as the original, although I could be wrong, but it's definitely nothing to be too disappointed in, and may get some awards attention, if only for the technical aspects. It's another intense period epic that, for the most part, lives up to the hype.